Yeah, it's super exciting to be on for both the 100 and 200 under qualifying time. I'm really happy with that.
Check out this time as well, comes under the flags, down to touch 2:07.39.
Down for shoulder burn.
A very good morning, swimming fans. Welcome here to the Brisbane Aquatic Centre for this Day 5 Heats program of our Hancock Prospecting Australian Swimming Trials. Kurt Hansen joined by James Magnuson. Maggie, fantastic 4 days of competition so far. We'll just revisit last night. Why not? It was a memorable one, and certainly highlights there. Mitch Larkin, new Commonwealth record in that 200 IM, and wasn't it a beautiful 100 freestyle final as well?
Yeah, Mitch Larkin, probably one of the form male swimmers of the meet. Looks great in the IM, something that we haven't seen too much of from him. So expect him to be strong again in the 200 backstroke.
Yeah, interesting one. We'll see him in the backstroke qualifiers today. But he said last night, medley, it's just a bit of fun and doesn't really take it too seriously. And all of a sudden, coming into a world, what if he goes to world champs and medals, or even does better than that, takes the thing out? Does that have to change his mindset going into Tokyo?
I think it does. He said he spends 2 sessions a week working on his medley, and he just got the Commonwealth record. So maybe if he spends a bit more time on it, who knows? The sky's the limit.
Well, we're going to see him in action, that 200 backstroke. That'll be a nice one. Once again, his consistency has been a highlight, that's for sure. Men's 100 freestyle last night. Kyle Chalmers drops another personal best. His second in 2 months, and he's in career best form and starting to race 100 freestyle a little different to what we saw. I don't think we've ever seen 100 like that last night, where he really got out after it.
Yeah, I think it's something that he's probably got to work on going into the Olympics next year. We know Caleb Dressel from America has great top-end speed. He's got the ability to go out 22 low in that 100 freestyle, which makes it really tough for Kyle if he's not within striking distance. So that's probably something he and his coach Bish have thought about. They're starting to get out a little bit quicker that first 50, and that just opens up for him to storm home that second 50.
Yeah, and speak about diversity as well. Clyde Lewis, 400 IM, and now 100, 200 freestyle.
Yeah, Clyde tricked us into thinking last year that he was an IM swimmer. He won the 400 IM at the Commonwealth Games. Really, he's a wannabe 100 freestyler. He's been secretive all this time.
I don't know about wannabe. He's definitely
He's
is
there,
one
yeah,
now.
he's there
Individual
now.
swims, relay swims. He's going to have a very busy program there at Worlds and in some of the biggest events on the program.
Yeah, don't be surprised if over the next couple of seasons we see Clyde drop under that 48 barrier. I don't imagine he spent a lot of time preparing for that 100 freestyle over the past 4 or 5 years. So as he starts to specialise more in that sprint freestyle event, I think he's got a lot of potential.
Men's 100 free last night, now back in. First event up this morning, women's 100 free, and it's always a cracker. Obviously, both Campbell sisters in action. Kate Bronte throwing Emma McKeon, who's in career best form, that brilliant win in the 200 freestyle. Shayna Jack, it's going to be a great race.
Yeah, we've had a chance to see Emma and Shayna already this week. They're both swimming really well. Haven't seen Kate or Bronte yet, so we don't really know where they're at.
Well, they did their family relay on night one.
Of course, yeah. Sorry, how did I forget that? But yeah, so we don't know. So we don't know what form they're in at the moment. But yeah, I expect them all to be fast tonight, and they're going to have to have a fast heat again. Great depth in this race. No semi-finals. It's all on the line in the morning.
Yeah, it's a nice one to kick off with, that's for sure. Women's 200 breaststroke, we saw the 100 breaststroke. Jess Hansen, a class above in that one, but now the 200 comes up and spots on this World's team, and they've really got to push for that world qualifying time.
Yeah, the qualifying time, the one to watch in this. Very tough. Can we get someone under? Can we not? Look, that's what we're going to be watching for tonight.
Yeah, Tay McEwen in with a chance. Tessa Wallace, the experience of her as well. Georgia Bowl. They all want to be on that Australian team, but they've got to go the time to make it. Men's 200 breaststroke, and well, Matthew Wilson, he took out the 100. He set a Commonwealth record in the 200 at the Australian Champs 2 months ago. This is his event, and it'd be great to see how quick he can go.
Yeah, I think he might fire a bit of a warning shot to the rest of the field this morning. Have a strong heat. Let them know they're racing for second. It's always a good tactic. He had a really strong Australian Championships down in Adelaide, so I expect him to be fast here.
Yeah, it's great to have him in great form, that's for sure. Maybe Zach Subtlety-Cook, the 20-year-old local from West Brisbane here, another one to look out for in that 200 breaststroke. And then the men's 1500 freestyle, 2-time finals, one this morning and then the big one tonight. And one of the stars of the show here, Jack McLaughlin.
Yeah, Jack McLaughlin's really the one to watch in this 1500 freestyle. With Mitch Larkin, probably the four male swimmer of the meet. We've seen him dominate in the 400, dominated even more in the 800. Huge program for him. He's going to be buggered by the end of the week, but hopefully he's got one more big swim left for us.
I'm sure he does, and wants to replicate as much that World Championship program as well. If he's going to do the 4, 8 and 15, that's a lot of swimming in 8 days of competition.
Yeah, it's a huge week for him. When you talk about adding the 1500, you're actually adding 3 kilometres of high intensity racing. Another 1.6 in the with the 800. Huge program. I can only imagine what his workload's like in training. That'd be the stuff of nightmares for someone like me.
Well, he seems to be loving it, and again, another one, personal best times dropping left, right and centre, and maybe the Commonwealth champion can improve on his 1500 best tonight. The form and the way his stroke looks, can't count it out. Not just the able-bodied swimmers though, also we've got our para swimmers in action at just after our Heats program today. They've got a little Grand Prix going on, and they've got their World Championships later in the year in London too.
Yeah, we get a chance to see the Australian para team today. They were selected early in the year, so great opportunity for everyone here in the crowd and at home to get a look at our stars of the para team.
Yeah, and heading towards Tokyo as well, not just the Olympics but the Paralympics. So every stepping stone towards that, it's super important, isn't it? And every race practice you can get, it's going to count.
Yeah, great chance for them to lower some times heading into the World Champs and the Olympics next year. They're going to have a strong program. Heats this morning, finals tonight, and then they'll be time trialling tomorrow. So they'll get 3 shots at their events. Yeah,
can't wait to see them in action also. Well, no, not too far away, just under 5 minutes. Great to have you with us here if you're at the Brisbane Aquatic Centre or watching online, courtesy of our live stream, Swimming Australia, all the w's.swimming.org.au or the 7+ app, our Day 5 Heats program coming up at 10 a.m. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get our Day 5 Heats program underway, and welcome to Pool Deck, our technical officials for this session. And let's meet our team, our referees for this session. Our referee for the men's events from Queensland, Teresa Goddard. Our referee for the women's events from New South Wales, Murray Smith. Our starters for the morning session, our starter for the men's events from Queensland, David Gregory. Our starter for the women's events from Western Australia, Dorothy Harris. I would like to welcome and thank our technical manager for this meet from Western Australia, Kay Bolger. We now invite our technical officials to please take their seats. And please make welcome to Pool Deck now, our first event of the Day 5 morning program. It's heats of the women's 100 metres freestyle. And there'll be 5 heats for this event. Coming out behind the blocks, Heat 1. Our first race of the morning underway, and the women's blue ribbon event, the 100 free. And Maggie, a couple of heats to go through. First for some of the youngsters, and just trying to push down towards that 55-second mark for these girls, and plenty of teenagers in these first few qualifiers.
Yeah, you look at some of the ages in the program here. We've got 14, 15, 17, a few 18-year-olds. Great opportunity for these guys, racing against the Campbell sisters, Shayna Jack, Emma McKeon. What a story to go back to school on Monday next week and tell your friends. Just raced at a World Championship trials.
So out here in lane 5, Alexandra Perkins, the 18-year-old from the Sunshine Coast, the USC Spartans Club. Come down, stop the clock, 57.27. So Perkins takes it out there. The results are on the screen. And heat number 1, behind the blocks, we have the swimmers in heat 2. Second heat of 5 in the water. This women's 100 freestyle, and seeded heats coming up next. Again, an opportunity for some of these youngsters here to try and set some personal best this morning and really push it hard. Really, it is a final for these girls here in this one, though, isn't it, Maggie? They've got to give it everything they've got. Yeah,
this is a straight final for these girls this morning. They're looking at bumping themselves up the Australian rankings, particularly going into an Olympic year next year. It's a great year to get some experience leading into those Olympic trials.
And also putting it out for them, 50 coming up tomorrow as well, a bit of a reverse program, so a lot of them might be their first swim of the meet. Yeah, we see both the women's sprint events later in the week, so like we said, we haven't had a chance to look at a few of these swimmers yet this week, so it's the start of their program for a lot of them. Tight on the wall, down to touch, might be lane 4. Kira Siebenhausen of Rackley, 56.89. So Siebenhausen takes out that second heat of 5. You can see the results there on the scoreboard. And behind the blocks now, we turn to heat 3 of this women's 100 metres freestyle. Away racing, and now the seeded heats begin, and this is where it starts to get interesting. And certainly in those middle lanes. Emma McKeon, what a meet she's had, took out that 200 freestyle, upset Ariane Titmus. It was a brilliant time for her as well, and she's in career best form.
Yeah, I think surprised herself in that 200 freestyle. She wasn't expecting to be that far ahead of Ariane on that last 50, and she was able to hold her off. She looks strong down the first 50 of the 100. I expect her to be strong in this morning's heat, as she's already blown the cobwebs out earlier in the week and a couple of other events, so she'll be feeling good, feeling confident.
Yeah, so McKeon unloading here, and so too Madison Wilson in that all-familiar pink cap alongside her in lane 5. Will be McKeon to come down, stop the clock, 53.06, so not a bad heat swim, almost sub 53 seconds.
Yeah, strong heat swim. Didn't look like she backed off too much into the wall. Stayed strong the whole way. You can't afford to switch off really this morning with no semi-final. You want to be strong, particularly if you want a middle lane for tonight, which is important.
And official results there being displayed on the scoreboard for Heat 3, and that was a super fast swim from McKeon, just outside the 53-second mark. Take out this heat ahead of Maddie Wilson there, 53.88, also a good heat swim. Behind the blocks now, we have the swimmers in Heat 4 of this women's 100 freestyle. And away in racing, and Heat 4 in the water. And Bronte Campbell, the one to look out for here. Of course, the Commonwealth champion from last year, and took a bit of time away as well towards the end of last year to just freshen up, and great to see her back.
Yeah, Commonwealth record, no, not record holder, Commonwealth champion, sorry. One of the swims of the meet for mine at the Commonwealth Games, Bronte Campbell. It's awesome to see her get that recognition. She's often been stuck behind her sister in the headlines. It'll be interesting to see how both Campbell sisters race this week, having made the move down to Sydney. That would have been a big change for them ahead of the Olympics next year, but Bronte looks really strong through this first 75 metres as she comes into the wall now. You can see she's not pushing it too hard. That kick is pretty relaxed.
Yeah, very controlled here, and it'll be just under the 54-second mark, 53.93. Bronte Campbell, very smooth. And a solid heat performance by her. Bree Throssell, wow, she's had a busy schedule and a successful one as well, backing up after that win last night. 54.73. So she'll should see her into another final. There we go, results from Heat 4. Bronte Campbell taking it out ahead of Bree Throssell and Holly Barrett. And behind the blocks now, we have the swimmers in the 5th and final heat of this women's 100 metres freestyle. So final heat, final chance to qualify, and two of the big names here. The Kate Campbell there, current Commonwealth record holder and former teammate and clubmate in Shayna Jack, but like you said, well, kind of done the reverse Greg Inglis, gone from Queensland to New South Wales, Maggie.
Yeah, we'll recruit her for the Origin team as well. Yeah, made the big move down to Sydney. Obviously, Coach Simon Cusack has moved down as well. Great recruitment for New South Wales swimming. So we see old teammates Shayna Jack and Kate Campbell going head-to-head in this heat. Also, you may notice Emily Seabom has pulled out of the 100 freestyle from lane 3. So obviously focusing on that 200 backstroke, her last chance to qualify for this World Championship team.
So coming down to touch here, 52.87. So another strong swim in the heats this morning. And while sub 53 seconds, Emma McKeon was close. Kate dips under, and it just means these girls mean business.
Yeah, with no semi-final, you want to have a strong morning swim. Really blow out those cobwebs. Like we said, it's the first swim of the meet for a couple of these girls, so they'd want to just have a little crack, make sure that they're feeling good for tonight.
Yeah, definitely nice to get into that 53-second barrier there for 52-second barrier for Kate Campbell. That was the heat before, and there we go, 52.87. We'll get the results summary very shortly online on our live stream as well. But it's going to be a cracking final tonight. Well, yeah, we'll go to the scoreboard there. It'll tick over our top 8 to go through, and it'll be headlined by Kate Campbell. Great swim by her in the heats this morning. Emma McKeon, just as good. So too Maddie Wilson. There you go. Campbell lead the way from lane 4. McKeon will be in lane 5. Shayna Jack right there. Maddie Wilson, Bronte Campbell, Bree Throssell. What a meet she's had. Leah Neal and Holly Barrett. And definitely one to watch tonight. Not just for individual spots, relay spots. And 3, 4, 5 world-class sprinters right there. It's going to be a quick time, you'd think.
Yeah, all the big names are there. Everyone's made it through to the finals. Again, there'll probably be 1 or 2 standouts in that final tonight, but positions in that relay team are up for grabs. It's going to be across the pool for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th position, I'd say.
Yeah, so as we just await our next event getting ready shortly, and a lovely day in Brisbane. How good's the weather been, Maggie? It's been absolutely sensational. I know we're in the indoor pool here, but outdoor pool facility as well here at the Brisbane Aquatic Centre has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've been spoilt this week with the weather. I wish it was like this when I went back to Sydney, but had a bit of a cold snap down there.
Definitely a great place to be. And let's continue our heats program here on day 5. Welcome to Pool Deck, the men's 200 metres backstroke. First of 3 heats, the men's 200 metres backstroke, and no mucky around here. All seated and plenty of quality. Maggie really, Mitch Larkin, a short price favourite. He'll be coming up in the 3rd and final heat, but we'll talk about him a bit later on. But for the rest of these boys, step 1, get into that final, and then step 2, start thinking about trying to get as close to that world qualifying time as possible.
Yeah, we'll probably want to see these boys dipping under that 2-minute mark to make sure of a final for tonight. The boys in the second 2-seeded heat have the luxury of seeing the pace of this first one, which is always nice. Still got Tristan Hollard and Trav Marnie with Ty Hartwell in this first heat.
Yeah, Tristan Hollard, the 22-year-old from the Gold Coast, Southport Olympic Club, and goes through at the halfway mark, 58.20. Ty Hartwell there. Another teenager, 18 years of age, from Rocky City. in lane 5, and like any 200, whatever stroke it is, pacing critical.
Yeah, backstroke has been known as being one of the more painful 200s. So you don't want to get it wrong on that first 100. There's severe consequences down that back 50 as we see a bit of a breakaway here from the rest of the field. Boys in lane 4 and 5.
Yeah, Hollard still hanging on, just ahead of Hartwell. And like I said, these two have skipped away and probably trying to push hard to get around that 2-minute mark and secure themselves a spot in the final. Might be just outside of that though. Coming down to the flags, will be Tristan Hollard, looks like here, just outside 2 minutes, 2:00:37. And Ty Hartwell there, 2:01:06. And results there on the scoreboard. Hollard takes out that first heat of 3, the men's 200 backstroke. And beside the blocks now, we have the swimmers in heat 2. So away here, second heat of 3, men's 200 backstroke. Probably the talent there in the middle lanes. Bradley Woodward, 20-year-old, Mingara Aquatic. On that Commonwealth Games last year, fantastic experience for him to be part of the Australian Dolphins team. And another one of these millennials who's just, he kills you with kindness. Super friendly guy, and a great member to be a part of, great team member as well.
Yeah, breakout year last year for Brad Woodward. I've seen him down there at SOPAC for a couple of years now. He trains with Adam Cable. Great guy, probably because he's a country boy. Country boys always do it best. Just missed a qualifying time in the 100 backstroke. So a little bit of pressure on him for this 200. But myself, along with many others, are gunning for Brad in this 200 backstroke. Hopefully he can have a big swim tonight and dip under that time. Try and go with Mitch Larkin and get himself on the plane to the World Champs.
Yeah, turn there, 57.37, and definitely more favoured in the 200. So the 100 was a nice little hit out for him, and he would have drawn some positives from that. But this is his event that he's focusing on for sure. Yeah, having spoken to his coach and some people in his camp, I think he's got the propensity to spin his wheels a little bit when he comes down to the 100 and just rush it. He's more able to settle into his pace in that 200, build through it, and finish strongly. As we see a match race in 2 here between Woodward and Merrilees in lane 5. Yeah, Jordan Merrilees as well, 24-year-old. He's been around a while now from the Melbourne Vic Centre. And looks like finishing the stronger in this 4th and final lap. And he's had some solid times under the 2-minute mark. And this will be thereabouts. And he does just dip under, well, they both do. So Merrilees takes out this second heat. Quickest time so far, 1:59.47, half a second ahead of Bradley Woodward, 1:59.97. So results there from Heat 2 on the scoreboard. Jordan Merrilees, the Victorian, takes it out just ahead of Bradley Woodward. And behind the blocks, we have the swimmers in the 3rd and final heat of this men's 200 metres backstroke. Last heat, last chance to qualify. Only the top 8 quickest across these 3 heats to go through to contest that final tonight. And definitely the man in lane 4, one of the swimmers of the meet so far, Mitch Larkin. And 100 backstroke was solid earlier in the week, and then doubled down on that with an even better swim in that 200 IM with that Commonwealth record last night.
Yeah, he's in red hot form, looks great in the water. A little interesting thing to watch with Mitch here. Just have a look at his kick rate for those at home and those here in the stands. Got a really interesting sort of 2 to 4 beat kick throughout this 200 backstroke. Very efficient for him, obviously works perfectly. Just very interesting to keep an eye on.
Yeah, he could definitely have a very big program at the World Championships, and obviously towards Tokyo as well. They turn here at the halfway mark. And Thomas Hawk out there pushing hard, 58.23. And the 16-year-old from All Saints, and that's the next generation coming through, and he's getting better with every swim as well. And again, another star on the Australian age scene, and just trying to slowly build and continue his PBs and race against the big boys. Yeah,
that's a name for the future, Thomas Huck. What an opportunity for a young guy, 16 years of age, to get a shot at Mitch Larkin in a heat like this. He's putting himself in a really good position to get a final swim tonight as well, so that'll be a great experience for a young guy ahead of an Olympic year next year. I'm sure that's a name we'll hear plenty more of in the future. So we see Mitch, like he's done all week, just so strong through that last 50. We saw it in his IM, we saw it in his 100 back. His fitness is obviously as good as it's ever been. He's just cruising through to the wall now, doing what he needs to do to get through to the final.
Yeah, it was a really solid final 50, and Larkin comes down very comfy, 158.11. Great swim from Thomas Hawk there of All Saints, 2:00.90, not too far off his own personal best. And Joshua Edwards-Smith, another 16-year-old from UWA West Coast. So good to see some of the teenagers giving it a big shake against the likes of Mitch Larkin in that third and final qualifier. And we'll get that results summary shortly. Well, there's the results from that final heat, the men's 200 backstroke. Larkin will go through to the final tonight. Quite comfy as the fastest qualifier, and well, we'll see how quick he can go in the form that he's in. Definitely expectations will be high. Who's going to join him? And there we go, our top 8 through. Jordan Merrilees will be alongside him, Bradley Woodward, Tristan Hollard. There you go, Thomas Hout, the 16-year-old in there. And so too Josh Edwards-Smith. So great to see 2 16-year-olds in that final. Great experience for them, and under lights tonight. Expecting big things from Larkin.
Yeah, they've done the job this morning. A bit of pressure for those young guys to try and make it through to a final. So they've got a free hit tonight. No need to feel nervous or feel any pressure about this one. They can just throw it out there with the big boys and see where they're at. See Mitch Larkin again, very dominant this morning in the heats. Could be a race for second based off what we saw this morning. But strong swims also from Jordan Merrilees and Brad Woodward. That qualifying time, another one to keep in mind tonight, 156.1. That's pretty tough.
Yeah, they're going to have to step it up another notch, those boys, Merrilees and Woodward, if they want to get that qualification for Guangzhou. And the heats continue here. Welcome to pool deck, the women's 200 metres breaststroke. There'll be 3 heats for this event, and behind the blocks, swimmers in heat 1. So away the first of 3 heats in the women's 200 breaststroke, and all to race for. Maggie, Jess Hansen out there in lane 5, took out the 100 breaststroke, and it was really quite an odd race. Over 100 metres for her to win by almost a second was quite bizarre, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a weird race altogether. I think a few of the girls got caught up racing each other instead of just swimming their own race and putting it out there and going for that qualifying time. We ended up with just a generally slow race, and that didn't help Jess Hansen, who was our winner. Missed the qualifying time, but look, they'll probably take her on the team because they need a breaststroker, obviously, for the medley relay.
She didn't miss it by too much, but the rest of the field was definitely another tier down, and it's interesting to see how this unfolds here. But Piper Bryant from Newmarket Races, 15-year-old, just bashing out a 100 there. Looks like she just wanted to get a hit out, and she's had enough, and so we'll leave it back to the middle lanes for these two, Jenna Strosh and Jessica Hansen. And just after a representative for Travis Marnie of Marion and Lewis Blackburn from Ravenswood. That's Travis Marnie of Marion and Lewis Blackburn of Ravenswood. Or representative from either of those two clubs to come see our technical officials here on pool deck. Thank you.
This is looking like a strong morning swim here from Jenna Strosh, coached by Richard Scarce over there at Bond University. He's diversifying, Rich. He wasn't originally known for his breaststroke coaching, so he's obviously done a great job here with Jenna.
Yeah, she's built into this race nicely. So, Strosh and Hansen really cleared away from the rest. Coming down to the flags, and it will be Jenna Strosh that takes out this first heat, 2:27.73. Jessica Hansen, 2:28.81. And the results there on the screen. Behind the blocks, we have the swimmers in Heat 2. Heat 2 of 3 in the water. Maggie, thoughts on that first qualifier? Both girls pushing themselves pretty hard and not bad heat swims.
Yeah, they did what they needed to do to get through to the finals. Another grueling event, 200 breaststroke. You don't want to empty that tank in the heats, so you've got to try and get through unscathed, using as little energy as possible. Again, just had a glance down at this qualifying time for tonight. 2:23.81, another tough one. As we look at the entry times in the program, only Taylor McEwen with an entry time under that qualifying time. So I think the girls will have learnt something in that 100 breaststroke. They'll know not to get caught up racing each other. They really need to put it out there and lay it all on the line tonight if they want a chance of getting under that qualifying time. So we should see a stronger race tonight from those girls than they had earlier in the week in the one, hopefully.
They'll be fired up a bit after that 100. A lot of them left the pool that final. Probably outside of Hansen, most of them look pretty upset. 1:11.30, Georgia Bowl. Pretty aggressive out that first 100 this time. But yeah, they looked a bit shell-shocked, weren't they, when they left the pool? So just back to the drawing board and come and try and fire up here in the 200.
Yeah, I think they were probably surprised because they were all in a group there. just behind Jess Hansen. They probably all thought they were going a little bit quicker than what they actually were. So we see Georgia take it out really strong this first 150. If she wants a shot at getting under that qualifying time tonight, this is the way she's got to swim it. She's got a great 100 breaststroke. So she needs to take it out strong, make the rest of the field chase her, but more importantly, lay it on the line and try and get under that QT.
Well, she's been sub 224 before, and yeah, well, going back there, back to 2016, so a couple of years back now, but I guess you get that confidence from knowing that you've been there before, so you can definitely get back there.
Yeah, absolutely, and she looks strong in this heat swim. Hopefully she's got a little bit left for the final tonight. As we see the girls come down to the wall in this second heat of the women's 200 breaststroke. So
Georgia Bowles going to hang on here. Fast finishing Georgia Power from Newmarket Race as well, a teenager, but Bowl takes it out, 2:30.39, just a little bit slower than the first heat. And right there, Georgia Power of Newmarket Races, and so too the experience of Tessa Wallace of Pelican Waters, and your top three from that second heat, and those results being displayed on the scoreboard. And behind the blocks, we turn our attention to the third and final qualifier here in the women's 200 metres breaststroke. So away we go, third and final heat, a women's 200 breaststroke. Last chance to qualify. These girls, and made a good point before Maggie Taylor McEwen out there, 24-year-old for Griffith University, and well, still has that time, second fastest Australian in history, but again, another one set a few years back now, back in 2016, 2:21.4.
Yeah, she's moved training programs as well since then, moved from Chris Mooney at USC Spartans over to Michael Bowl at Griffith University. So this race this morning will give us a bit of indication where she's at with her training, how her preparation's been. She's going to have to be right near her best if she wants to get under that qualifying time. We saw the girls in that second heat there just, again, get a little bit caught up. They're a little bit cautious. Not a really quick heat swim, and you want to be going 2:23 tonight. So let's see if Taylor can push the pace a bit more this morning. You want to set yourself up nicely for the final swim tonight. You don't want to be too far over that 2:23 mark, because it's a shock to the system if you have to drop 5 seconds from a heat to a final.
So trying to be aggressive here, man. McEwen in lane 4, stroking away, and not too far off as well, flanked on either side. Abby Harkin, 21-year-old from St. Peter's Western there on lane 5, and our visitor from Sweden, Jessica Eriksson. Can't race the final tonight, so she'll be trying to give it everything she's got in the heats this morning.
Bit of a tough heat for here, Taylor. She's had to do it on her own a little bit. Had to pace herself. Hopefully she can push this last 50. We really need these girls swimming fast tonight. With no one getting the qualifying time in that 100 breaststroke, you'd like to think they'd fire up for this 200 now. Taylor looks strong there this morning. Again, hopefully she's got a few cards up her sleeve for tonight, because it's going to need a much faster swim than any of the girls have done this morning.
Yeah, so coming down here and down a touch, and it looks like will be the quickest time of the heat, so not a bad one, 2:26.84. Taylor McEwen, that's what she needed. The other girls, yeah, a little further back, just outside the 2:30 mark. So McEwen will go through fastest qualifier across the 3 heats, and yeah, look at that, not a bad swim for the heats program, and what she needed.
Yeah, she definitely needed to get down under that 2:30 mark after that second of the seeded heats. Like we saw with the 100 breasts, all the girls are going to have to go a lot quicker tonight. Someone's got to be willing to throw it out there and just go out fast and try and get under that qualifying time, because if they get stuck in a match race, we're going to end up with no qualifiers again.
Yeah, so there we go. McEwen takes out that final heat. We'll get the result summary there and those top 8 qualifiers to go through. And I think Maggie makes a good point. It's really going to have to put it on the line tonight. McEwen will start from lane 4 and Strosh there as well. Hanson, who won the 100. And then Bowl, Power, Wallace. They've got to make some serious inroads. Try and get down to that 2:23.8 world qualifying time if they want to book a spot on that plane to the World Championships in 5 weeks' time. And the heats continue. Please make welcome to pool deck event 22. It's the men's 200 metres breaststroke. There'll be 3 heats for this event. Behind the blocks, swimmers in heat 1. And away we go, first of 3 heats in this men's 200 breaststroke. And interesting in this one, Maggie, Jake Packard out there in lane 3 didn't have the 100 that he was after and wants to try and get out after it here in the 2. Yeah,
known better for the 100, so watch him to show his speed in this first 100 metres of the 2. It's going to have to be a pretty gutsy effort if he wants a chance at qualifying for this 200 breast. It's a pretty stacked event with both Matt Wilson and Zach Stubblety Cook. If we look at the program, those boys with entry times 6 seconds faster than the next fastest swimmer. So they've been dominant in this 200 breaststroke. So Jake's going to have to go fast in this first heat if he wants a shot at making the final. Hasn't got a chance to see what the other boys are doing.
Well, he's definitely giving it a crack, that's for sure, in these early stages. So he comes down to the halfway mark.
As a sprinter, I love seeing something like this. 100-metre swimmer coming up to the 2, laying it down that first 100 and just gutsing it out the second 100. Let's hope for Jake's sake he can hang on here. It's going to be a tough last 50 metres, no doubt.
Yeah, 103.56 at the 100. And, Packard leads the way, but Samuel Williamson of Furbank Aquastars there in lane 4. Julian Leighton with the beard, a 24-year-old from New Zealand.
Fear the beard.
Yeah, fear the beard. Looking all right in the black cap as well.
He's holding on pretty nicely here, Jake. Let's wait for that piano to drop on his back this last 50 metres.
Yeah, definitely going to feel the burn that final 25.
Oh,
you
yeah.
See the New Zealander starting to revel now. Leighton in lane 5, trying to make a challenge on Packard.
Nevertheless, gutsy morning swim. Love seeing that sort of thing.
It'll be tight on the wall. And Packard hangs on, so 2:15.08 for him. Instead of Leighton, our visitor from New Zealand, 2:15.20. And Samuel Williamson there in third spot, 2:17.24. And official results there from that first heat now being displayed on the scoreboard. Packard takes it out. And turn our attention to Heat 2 with the men's 200 metres breaststroke. And second heat of 3 in the water. And nice to see Zach Stubblety-Cook here, Maggie, the 20-year-old from right here in West Brisbane. And I guess his great swim at 2:07.89, it was kind of lost in the wash with Wilson's Commonwealth record. So that was a solid swim for him as well. It's really catapulting himself right up there.
Yeah, huge swim from him. With both these guys in good form, the event's looking much stronger than it has for quite a few years. We could see 2 finalists at the World Championships in the men's 200 breaststroke, which we haven't seen for quite some time. So it's great for these boys to be pushing each other too. It's not necessarily a good thing to have a whitewash of your main event at a championships leading into a world titles. So be good for Matt and Zach to push each other tonight. There's not really any pressure or expectation on them to win this event here in Brisbane. You get your plane ticket whether you're first or second, so they can throw it out there a bit tonight, show the rest of the world where they're at, and fire a bit of a warning shot ahead of the world titles in 5 weeks' time.
Yeah, we were talking about the difference between a 100 and a 200 breaststroke, almost 2 totally different sports, and just see that technique of Stubblety-Cook just so in tune for a 200 breaststroke, nice and long, controlled, and just has a beautiful rhythm, doesn't he?
Yeah, they really lengthen things out in this 200 breaststroke, drop their stroke rate right down. You'll see them milk these turns for all they're worth. Some of the boys even getting over 15 metres off the start in the 200 breaststroke. So, yeah, different sport to the 100 breaststroke, and obviously a place where both Matt Wilson and Zach Stubblety-Cook feel much more comfortable.
So really nicely executed qualifier here. Stubblety-Cook there in lane 4 in the black cap. I think he'll enjoy this tonight as well in the final in front of his home crowd and family and friends, and skips away over this final lap. And he's going to be just outside the 2:10 mark. So a good swim, 2:10.68 for the heats.
That'll give him a lot of confidence going into tonight's final. Didn't empty the tank there, did what he needed to do.
Yeah, Liam Hunter there, a little way back, 2:16.32 in second spot. So results there for second heat of 3 men's 200 breaststroke on the scoreboard, and comprehensive win there to Zach Stubblety-Cook just outside that 2:10 barrier. And behind the blocks now we have the swimmers in the third and final heat of this men's 200 metres breaststroke. So last heat in the water, only the top 8 across all 3 will go through to the final tonight. And Matthew Wilson, well, set the pool of light down there in Adelaide. His swim, probably for mine, was probably the swim of the meet down there. Commonwealth record 200 breaststroke, and that time that he swam or would have got him a silver medal at the World Championships 2 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Swimming the meet. As we spoke about a little bit earlier in the week, he had a few niggling injuries going into that Adelaide Championships. Spent a little bit of time out of the pool, had a little bit of a disrupted taper, so be interesting to see what he can do here with a good injury-free preparation. The Great White Flash takes it out fast this first 100 metres in the 200 breaststroke.
Yeah, he looks strong, and the 100 breaststroke was pretty good for him as well. He turns here in front 101.48 as you'd expect. Fair way back there, Daniel Cave in second, and James McKechnie of Starplex there currently in third. But yeah, it's a good sign, the 100 breaststroke.
Yeah, to give him a bit of confidence for this 200. Obviously booked his ticket on the team already as he's needed for that IM relay. But he'd still want to be fast here this morning. It's been a few days since that 100 breaststroke, so you don't want to get sloppy midweek. As we see from these heats this morning, really, Matt Wilson and Zach Stubblety-Cook a class above, probably. It'll be a great race tonight between those two. Hopefully they can push each other along to a really quick time. Maybe we might even see a new Commonwealth record. Well,
did his time surprise you at the Australian Champs? Because I think it floored a few people. Did you think he had that in him?
Yeah, I did think he had it in him. I think he's a really skillful swimmer. He's worked a lot on his dives and turns. He's looking a much stronger all-round athlete at the moment. So I think that was always going to lead to faster swimming.
So he comes down to take out this final heat just outside the 210 barrier as well. So 210.06, and does what he needs to do to go through, and he'll start as the fastest qualifier from lane 4 tonight, and really going, you'd think, to be a clear-cut 2. Well, on paper, that's for sure. Matthew Wilson and Zach Stubblety-Cook, and both these two in almost, well, you'd say career best form in the 200 breaststroke. So if they can push each other, it might really see if they can lower that time and get it closer to that Commonwealth record that was set 2 months ago.
Yeah, both boys in great form coming into this meet. I think the main thing for these boys is just to get out there and race fast. Don't think about that qualifying time. Don't let it be a distraction. Just put the pedal to the metal and let's see where they're at.
So we see our top 8 qualifiers on the screen there. I hope you're enjoying the coverage online, courtesy of Swimming Australia as well, our Day 5 program. Yeah, 2019 Hancock Prospecting Australian Swimming Trials from the Brisbane Aquatic Centre. And big shout out and thank you to everyone in attendance here as well. And as always, if you can't make it here to the pool, make sure you don't miss any of the action on our live stream. Just hit the website, allthews.swimming.org.au, or you can also download the iSwim app or the 7 Plus app. Follow the links and you can watch it on your computer or mobile device. I've had some great feedback. Everyone's enjoyed it throughout Australia and the world. And we'll turn our attention to our final event of our Heats program this morning, and it's time final number 1 of the men's 1500 metres freestyle. And away, 30 laps of the pool. Time final 1, men's 1500 freestyle. There'll be 2 time finals. The second and last time final will be raced in tonight's program. But again, these 3 swimmers, Maggie, just It's their final right here, right now, and just have to unload, and they're really just trying to get as far under that 16-minute mark as possible.
Yeah, free hit this morning for the boys. Just got to throw it out there, see where they're at. Nothing to lose. Try and jump up a few rankings against the boys in tonight's final. Just having a look at my program here, we had Jack Cartwright entered to do the 1500. Is Dean Boxall having a laugh there, or?
No, I think, yeah, obviously they just threw him in there to get an accreditation so he could come here on pool deck and watch some swimming as well. But Cartwright, obviously a shoulder injury there, and his season's done and dusted, but it happens, doesn't it? And you'd rather it happen this year than next year.
Yeah, better to happen this year. I don't know the full extent of his injuries, but wishing him a speedy recovery. And we've all been there with injuries. It's not an easy road back, but yeah, certainly better to happen this year than next year leading into Tokyo. We definitely need him for that men's 4x100 relay, and probably the men's 4x2 as well. He'd definitely bolster the stocks there.
Yeah, definitely an integral part of the Australian team, and especially last year, that's for sure. And yeah, no doubt he'll be back bigger and better than ever for 2020. So these boys tick along, and in that 1500 final tonight, it'll be headlined by Jack McLaughlin, looking to do the 4-8 and the 15 triple here at the trials.
Huge program. Have you seen anyone take on that program since Hackey many moons ago? Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, not in the men's program, that's for sure.
Yeah, tough program. Be interesting to see how he handles it at the World Championships. Obviously a longer meet at the World Championships, 8 days, so hopefully for his sake he gets a few rest days in the middle there somewhere. But again, at the World Championships you add in a heat at the 1500, you add in a heat at the 800. It's a grueling program. You know, it might be something that he and Vince have to look at, potentially resting him from a couple events and focusing more on others, but who knows, he's just looks so good in each of his events. It's hard to know which is his favoured one.
4x2?
Yeah, that'd be the funnest one for him. That's a flat out sprint for him. That's like me doing a 25-metre freestyle. But yeah, he looked really good in the 4 and the 8. I can only expect him to look good in this 15. So yeah, I'm not sure which one he'll target for a medal.
You'd think 15 probably off the back of what we saw last year, but it all kind of merges into one. Like, two things that really, I guess, stand out for me. One is length of stroke. He just seems to stay long under pressure, which is the hardest thing to do when everything in your body's telling you to shorten up, tighten up. He still maintains a beautiful length. And he has, I feel like, especially in the last 12 months, an incredible turn of speed, which a modern 1500 freestyle swimmer, obviously Sun Yang has proven, to be able to flip that switch and find another level, you need that turn of speed if you want to match it with the best in the world. Yeah,
for me, that makes me think twice about the 1500 is that in the past we've seen Jack swim the 400 almost negative splitting, those 200s. This year he had speed. That first 200 was fast. He dropped the rest of the field on that first 200. The same in the 800. He went out fast. So that tells me he's been working more on his speed. With maybe he's looking more at that 400 than the 15. Hard to say. We'll have to see how he swims that 15 tonight. I'm sure if you gave him the option, he'd probably rather do the 400 training than the 15, but he is a tough bugger, so who knows?
I think his mentality, I feel like he just loves it all. I don't think you can give him enough work. You see it in a lot of sports that some people just love the work, and the more they just gobble it up, and it easier to talk to a sprinter about it, but definitely you see it with the girls as well in that middle distance freestyle. They do a lot of work, but they enjoy it, I think, as well, and sometimes they just can't get enough of it. They love it. Yeah,
it's a completely different mentality to anything that I'm really used to, but they eat up that hard work. It's almost a badge of honour on pool deck for who's done the more kilometres, who's fitter, who's got better durability. It'd be hard to challenge St Peter's Western in that category at the moment with A few of their swimmers led by Ariane, but we're also seeing TSS obviously doing some big kilometres down there in Southport.
Yeah, 500 metre mark there. So 1/3, the boys go through, and Daniel Jacobson, 20-year-old from Albany Creek, just up the road here in Brisbane. Leads them through there in lane 5, but they're all pretty close. Matthew Robinson there in 4, and James Otley-Doe of TSS Aquatic, the 18-year-olds from the Gold Coast in lane 3. Yeah, definitely gotta love the work in these distance freestyle events. And I think the other thing that stands out for Jack McLaughlin, we're talking about him, he's just the average Joe, isn't he? Physically not very tall, not insanely muscular. It just seems like a natural kind of a natural swimmer, and a fantastic feel for the water.
Yeah, just a workhorse, and like you said, they've obviously done a lot of work on his technique, particularly over these last 18 months. Each time I've seen him swim over these past 18 months, from the Com Games trials last year to the Commonwealth Games, and now this year to the World Champs trials, his strokes look better each time. He's gained a little bit of speed each time in that front end, and he's gained confidence. So it's a trio of bonuses for him, and we're going to see some serious competition next year. We've now got Jack McLaughlin in red hot form, and we've got the Olympic champion in Mac Horton sharing events. So suddenly we've got some real depth in that men's mid-distance to distance freestyle.
Yeah, just you hear some of those inspirational quotes. Just be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. And I feel like Jack's just been a little bit better. And every day you see him, he just incrementally is a little bit better. And then you add up all those, and all of a sudden you get what you've got right now. Yeah,
it hasn't just been one huge swim that's jumped him into stardom. He's slowly chipped away at it. He's been in the team for a few years now, but he's kept improving, which is really impressive. You know, often people make the Australian team and they've kind of reached or are very near to their peak, and they struggle to improve. Jack's kept chipping away at it, and really, if he keeps doing that leading into the next year, the sky's the limit. If he can keep doing PBs throughout the back end of this season and early next year, he'll put himself right in the frame for an Olympic medal.
Yeah, we see him there. His personal best, 14:47.09. That's what he set at the Commonwealth Games last year when he took out that 1500. Fourth fastest Australian all time, behind Grant Hackett, Mac Horton, and Kieran Perkins.
It's not bad company.
Yeah. Well, when you see the form that he's in, and then you go, well, over 1500, 14:47, he's 6 seconds off KP's time, which was a world record at the time as well, set at the Commonwealth Games back in '94 in Victoria, Canada.
Yeah, 6 seconds sounds like a lot. When you space it out over 1,500 metres, doable, very doable, particularly the form that Jack's in. The only thing that could work against him in that event is that it's been a pretty shortened program here. He's had a lot of racing in the space of 4 days. So that's tough.
It is tough, but it doesn't seem to affect him as much. Or when you're in that kind of form that you're in, you almost, I spoke a little bit to Jan about last night, you almost don't want to stop. You don't want the meet to end. You just want to keep going forever. And every time he's hit the water, he's looked good.
Yeah, I'd say mentally he's up for it. His confidence would be right up. But, we are dealing with energy systems here. It's a little beyond feeling good. There is some energy systems at play and a bit of science behind that. But, look, I expect him to be fast tonight. I just don't want to put too much pressure on him because he has had a huge week. I think if he can be anywhere, within a couple of seconds of his best time, he'll be happy with that. Obviously, when he does this event at the World Championships, he'll have the heat the day before. He'll have that full day of the race to rest up, to eat big, and prepare.
You've got an 8-day meet, don't you? You've got a proper meet, proper 8-day program. It's nice and spread out, and even though he's going to have his hands full, but it's definitely manageable.
Yeah, it is a lot more manageable over an 8-day heat when you add in those semi-finals for the 100 and 200 events. Just pads out the meet that little bit, enables him a little bit more of a chance to recover and rest up. It's been a pretty rapid-fire week for him here. He's had an event each day So it certainly hasn't made it easy.
And not tapered either as well. That's got to be a positive sign.
Yeah, he probably isn't tapered. Some of these distance guys don't react as much to a taper as some of the shorter distance guys, but yeah, taper will for sure drop a couple of seconds, no doubt, off that 1500.
So they come down the 1,000 metre mark here, and our first of 2 time finals, the 1500 freestyle. And doing a good job, Daniel Jacobson from Albany Creek. Just took it up another notch in that second 500, 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah, it's a gutsy morning swim there from Daniel Jacobson. He's broken away from the other boys. He's doing it on his own now. Not easy to do, so let's hope he can continue to build his pace through this back 500.
And the same for these guys, just trying to get a good hit out, try and get as far under that 16-minute barrier as they can, and as they head towards an Olympic year next year as well, just trying to get as much race practice as they can, more improvements, and it's always a fantastic final. Any final's a fantastic final to be in at Olympic trials, isn't it?
Yeah, and if we look at the program, we've got Jack McLaughlin entered on a 14:47. Outside of that, there's a bit of daylight, so any of these boys can step up from the rest of the field over the next year and throw their name in the hat, really challenge for an Olympic berth. And this is the place to start.
The boys ticking away here, just under 400 to swim. And a reminder that second and last time final will be swum in tonight's program. And also not to go too far away, because we will have our Paraswimming Grand Prix coming up. Heats from 11:15 today. Multi-class events, and our paraswimmers got their World Championships on in London a little later on in the year. And definitely preparations are well and truly underway for them as they head towards the Paralympics in Tokyo also in 2020. Jacobson going through there, 12:42.20. 300 to swim.
Looks like each of the boys are starting to pick up their stroke rate a little bit here. You know, a lot of 1500 swimmers speak about building each 500, trying to make that last 500 as strong as possible. So we'll see them trying to increase their pace over this last few laps, trying to dip down under that 16-minute mark.
Yeah, nice rhythm from Jacobson out in front. It's trying to keep that stroke long and consistent. Looks pretty smooth, that's for sure. And won't be too far away now. 200 metres to go at this turn, and exciting time for a 1500 metre swimmer when you come down to those final few hundred, and especially if you're feeling good, just trying to bump it up and make that last 200 your best.
Yeah, I think if we look back to London, Sun Yang's last 50 metres was a 25.50 freestyle after 1,450 metres of solid swimming. Some of these boys really get cracking over that last couple of laps. It's amazing how they find the energy after having grounded out for 14 minutes to sprint home that last 50 metres.
Yeah, he's certainly, well, he's not the world record holder for nothing, but the way he builds his 1500s as well, just gets quicker every 100, and like you said, not just his final 50, but probably his final 400 is almost quicker than his first 400, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's impressive. We would love to have seen Haki go head-to-head with him in his prime.
So turn here, and the bells ring. Daniel Jacobson, 2 laps to swim. Also getting the bell there, Matthew Robinson. There'll be bell here also for James Otley-Doe. They try and finish off their race. I just had a Game of Thrones throwback there with the bell ringing.
Boys are picking up their rate now.
Yep, don't burn the place down. He just lost his cap there. That's a good sign. That means you're pushing it.
Yeah. Just going to have to go back and grab that before we start the para events. I'll get you to chuck the speedos on, Kurt, and jump in for that one.
Well, we're lucky it's the last event of the morning program. And we'll have a short little intermission before we get back on with that Para Grand Prix. Heats from 11:15, just over 10 minutes time. Good swim here coming down. Daniel Jacobson, the Brisbane boy, stops the clock. 15:50.86. We said under the 16-minute mark, so 10 seconds under. Yeah, be pretty happy with that. Never easy to get up for a heat swim or a 1500 in the Heats program. Second spot there. Matthew Robinson, Kiwana Waters, 16:04, and then James Otley-Doe, the 18-year-old from the Gold Coast, 16:12.85. So there we go, the official results there from that time final one of the men's 1500 freestyle on the board. And a reminder that second and last time final will be in action tonight. And I said, Jake McLaughlin, a local lad here from Chandler, and the meet he's had, the Commonwealth champion, definitely going to be one to watch in this evening's program. So on behalf of the Swimming Australia team, I hope you enjoyed the coverage here this morning of our Day 5 Heats program from the Hancock Prospecting Swimming Trials. And a reminder, our Para Grand Prix multi-class competition, their heats will be commencing in around about 15 minutes time here from the Chandler Aquatic Centre. We'd like to thank our technical officials for their efforts across the morning's program, and we now invite them to leave from pool deck.